Today we're going to be discussing how to build your back to get your pull-ups and improve your overall upper body pull. One thing that we have a tendency to do is rely more on our biceps and the muscles on the front side of our body when we're trying to do movements with the back side of the body. A lot of that is just an unawareness of how our body is positioned and how to use those muscles because we don't use them on our day-to-day activities in our concrete jungle. So we're going to give you a couple tips on movements that you might see often in either your group classes or you're doing at home. That's going to help build those muscles, bring the awareness to the lats so we can tackle that pull-up that we can't seem to get and start improving the shape of our body as well. First one we're going to start off with is the pull-up. So with a pull-up, what we see a lot of times in group classes, especially if we're going into a jumping pull-up or a banded pull-up, that when we're on that bar, we're keeping the face rather far away from the bar to do the movement, and this is going to load more of those biceps. So Nadine is going to show a pull-up where she's just keeping that chin away from that bar. And as she comes up, the chin's away, come back down. She's going to be doing a lot of pulling right here with the biceps, okay? If she was doing a jumping pull-up, we're going to just scoot this box over, she can do the same thing with a jumping pull-up, a banded pull-up, and what's happening is we're just jumping high enough to get the chin over or close, yeah, and we're still using those biceps. What we want to focus on when we're doing that pull-up is, one, get that chin to sit onto that bar or just right over the bar. When we do that, it forces our body to go from this position, push the chin over, which is now getting the elbow behind the back. And this is a crucial part of getting the back muscles to kick in, especially those lats, especially the lower lat, is that if this elbow comes behind the body, it's going to force that lat to turn on. If that elbow never passes behind that body, we can stay with the pec and bicep mainly onto that movement. So as Nadine, she does another pull-up. This time she's going to get that chin all the way on and kind of slightly push that head forward and then come back down. Nice. And do one more. Perfect. So those elbows are going to be slightly behind the back. She probably feels it more in the lats, right? Yeah, cool. And you can do that same thing if you're using a banded pull-up or a jumping pull-up. So if we're doing a jumping pull-up, I know this is a big jump for you. Yeah, a really big jump for you. She's still getting that chin towards that bar, getting those elbows behind there. If we're not really feeling it on the jumping pull-up, or we feel like we're going to hit our face into the bar or something, another way to look at that is doing a jumping chest-to-bar pull-up or doing a chest-to-bar pull-up. So you can do, obviously Nadine can do chest-to-bar pull-ups, so she's just going to do them. But you can imagine if you can do them jumping, you're going to see those elbows really pull behind the back. So if the chin over the bar doesn't really seem to work, or you're afraid of hitting your face on the bar or something, think about elevating that platform that you're standing on for those jumping pull-ups, getting that chest to the bar, because if you're holding onto that bar, it's touching your chest. Look at my elbows. They're going to be behind the back. So that's one real quick way that you could start improving the movements that you're doing for your pull-up, whether it's a jumping pull-up, a kipping pull-up, a strict pull-up, whatever type of pull-up that you're doing to get those lats to kick in. At the same time, if we don't have a pull-up yet, we can do the same thing with the ring row. So if we're getting into this ring row, and I'm going to get into a ring row for me, Nadine. I just want to make sure that you're, yeah, perfect. So a lot of times what's happening when we do this ring row is we're only bringing ourselves up and hitting those elbows pretty much in line with the back. So she comes up, yes, very big pull of the bicep and come back down. Or what's happening is she's taking a tight grip on the hands and almost bringing the hand to the shoulder as we come up. And we can see that bicep doing a lot of work. Good, and you can slowly come up off there. When we're doing that ring row and we're having a strong grip, it's firing up the forearm and the bicep. It's going to focus our body to use those muscles. Now, if we can just loosen that grip on those ring rows, and we could think about driving the elbows behind us, rather than thinking of bringing our chest up to the rings, it'll kick our lats in a little bit more. Nadine will show you this. So same position. This time she's going to come all the way up, and those elbows are behind. We're going to pull all the lats into the back and coming back down. You can do a couple more, as well as she's keeping the glutes and the hips nice and forward along with that ring row with the feet planted. Good way to get those lats kicking in, get those back muscles in, and then you're going to see how that'll transfer to this too. So I highly suggest too, before you do your pull-ups, do a couple set of ring rows, 5, 10 ring rows, pull those elbows to the back, get those lats kicking in, and then when you get up to that pull-up bar, you start pulling on there, you might feel those lats kick in a little bit more. Whether you have a pull-up or don't, jump in with those ring rows to start before we go up to that bar and get some more vertical pulling. Another weak spot or weak movement that people deal with is the push-up. And we get to that push-up, we do these little tiny partial push-ups, or we're working a lot more of the bicep and the tricep in that push-up too. And we have one way that we like to show people how to do the push-up or improve their push-up is to do a ring push-up. And what I really like about the ring push-up is we kind of put it into a deficit. So you're getting that full range of motion, you're forcing the elbows behind the back, you're bringing your chest all the way down to your hands on these ring push-ups on top of that. And it's at an incline that you're capable of doing while keeping the core engaged. And finally, on top of that, the stability of the rings is going to play a big part. So to us, this is one of the best ways that you can build your push-up and feel the most mind-muscle connection of that working. So she's just going to get into a plank position. And we can start up nice and high, so the rings in general are right around her hip height to start. And she's going to keep the palms facing, and the distance above is going to be about shoulder width apart. She's just going to lower that chest all the way down, keeping the glutes squeezed, the core in this slightly hollow position, a slightly rounded position, and then driving straight up from that. Now, if we want to make these push-ups a little bit harder, we can bring these ring rows down to about knee height. And that's the perfect location that I find to get the most out of that push-up, make it difficult, and still get good reps in there. Now, the lower you make them, the tougher they get for sure, but she's going to get into that push-up position. Good. And then driving back up. And still the big thing here is coming back down and not collapsing the core. Push back up. One time, Nadine, I want you to show with a kind of a sagging midline. This is very possible for us to do this too. Try to just pick that line up, get the core in, kick that in, and drive up. The other mistake that we see people do is as they fatigue, they're going to get some marks sitting onto their biceps and triceps. What's happening is the hands are initially starting off facing each other, and as they lower down, the elbows are going to slightly flare out because we're going to try and use a little bit more shoulder to get the body up. So be aware of that. If you're getting a lot of marks, red marks are sitting right here on the body, it's a lot of times those elbows are coming out, and the more reps that we do, you're going to see that those arms are going to flare out even more. So to adjust for that, raise the height of the ring if you can. Just pay attention to that. 3 cool ways to help build your back, get your upper body pull. Yes, the push-up is an upper body push, but at the same time, we're still getting the activation at full range and getting our body to pull the elbows behind your back. Try those out. Let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.